Nearly years before the Valkyries, Denise Long Rife was drafted by the Warriors. Denise Long lived on Irwin Street in her speck of a hometown. It was the summer of 1967, and the view from her bedroom window presented the general store, the post office, which her mother ran, and a hangout for teenagers, the Sugar Shack. She could almost see the entirety of Wheaton, Iowa, population almost 200, from there. Oh, did she love that hangout. The only thing she loved more was basketball. The 5'11" forward scored and never stopped scoring, as if she were put on this planet for that purpose. Sometimes she combined those loves, entering the Sugar Shack with a basketball tucked under her right arm. One day, that same summer, a friend asked to speak to her outside. His name was Rex, she says on the phone from her home in Kansas. Nearly 6 decades later, she's Denise Long Rife now. She's reliving a magical period of her life that became part of sports history. Back to the story. They stopped out front, near the entrance of the Sugar Shack. He looked down at her, his face becoming serious. "Denise," he said, "you're going to have to stop being so crazy about basketball. You need to think about your future and how you're going to create some wealth. There's no future in girls' basketball, and I just want to tell you, right now, that you act like the Boston Celtics or the Los Angeles Lakers are going to draft you. You're not going to be drafted by an NBA team. You might as well forget it." Some 20 months and a few thousand points scored. Later, Long Rife went to the principal's office at Union Wheaton High School one May afternoon. She wanted some construction paper to make a bulletin board posting. She ran into a friend named Dennis there. The boy started laughing. When she asked what was so funny, he responded, "Well, you've been drafted." Long Rife played basketball in an era far distant from the modern WNBA. In the late 1960s, female hoopsters played 6-on-6, with 3 guards set up on one side of the court to defend and 3 forwards set up on the opposite end to score. They could only dribble twice before they had to shoot or pass. In many respects, this version of basketball naturally lifted some of the game's best aspects: movement, precision passing, and, of course, offenses that could score almost at will. To become the scorer among all scorers, Long Rife decided on a singular strategic approach. In high school, Long Rife scored 6,250 points, a national record back then. The three-point shot did not yet exist. Her mark wouldn't be broken for 18 years. She shot Union Wheaton to the state title in her junior year. That season's championship game, viewed on TV by 3.5 million people across the Midwest, can still be found on YouTube. And while most consider her 64 points in that triumph as a seminal moment in her basketball legend, emblematic of her point-scoring prowess, Long Rife never exactly saw it that way. Didn't stop her. That's how Long Rife started playing basketball. Before Title IX passed in 1972. Before gender equity period. That she still gained renown, her team, and her sport more popular than any boys' squad in any sport, only spoke to the gravitational pull that resulted only from her play. People knew of her anyway. Long Rife recalls another moment from that summer of 1967. Outside, shooting baskets with a friend, they took a break, settling under an elm tree. The friend began to marvel. Wouldn't it be great if you could get on the Johnny Carson show and tell everybody about girls' basketball? Well, yes, sort of, maybe. Franklin Muley worked as a radio and television producer in San Francisco. He knew how to tell a story that would resonate. He also owned the Warriors. His selection of Long Rife in the 13th round is often framed as little more than a publicity stunt. It was that. But it was more than that. Perhaps Muley knew that NBA Commissioner Walter Kennedy would never allow the selection, and Kennedy did veto the pick, on the grounds that the league did not draft high school players. Still, Muley and Long Rife made history. Since then, only one other woman has been drafted by an NBA team. Lucia Harris, 1977, the Jazz. She declined to try out. Muley brought Long Rife to California, where, lo and behold, she did appear on The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson just over a week after she was drafted. The show also featured Jack Dempsey and Gene Tunney, two elite heavyweight boxers known for their long count fight in 1927. Muley had a plan. Flying Long Rife to San Francisco wasn't a trip of any sort, nor was the player written off as a publicity stunt lacking in skill, magnetism, or accomplishments. Long Rife had more of all three than any female player in America. Muley wanted her to live in the Bay Area as part of a new venture he created. Muley paid for Long Rife's college tuition if she played in his 4-team women's professional hoops undertaking. He named it the Warrior Girls Basketball League. Their games took place before Warriors' home contests. Long Rife became the centerpiece of his efforts. Muley gave her $5,000 for expenses and leased her a purple Jaguar to drive. No player received a salary. While in San Francisco, Long Rife also met the Giants' Willie McCovey at a photo shoot. She remembers leaning on a bat, looking up at the future Hall of Famer as if she worshipped him. His head was thrown way back, and he was laughing. The experiment Muley masterminded folded after just 1 year. Long Rife went back to Iowa, where she attended Marshalltown Community College. One day, a man named Paul approached her and told her he had heard she had taken up dancing. He didn't mean square. An exotic dancer nearby had been using her name as a stage name. Paul took her right over there. Long Rife asked the dancer to stop. The dancer cited higher tips as the reason why she would continue to appropriate the significance behind what Denise's name had come to mean. Long Rife's mother told her that her father had already paid the establishment a visit while she was in California. He told the bartender at the club that this stage name better cease, slamming a fist on the bar for emphasis. It was a Bible verse about God and belief and unwavering faith. She brought her Bible to school with her the next day when, in a common area, a group of 4 female students noticed her and it. They approached. "Aren't you Denise Long?" "Well, yes." "Are you a Christian?" "Well, maybe." They promised that a quadriplegic man would visit her house soon, and he did. He could drive with a modified vehicle. He could read, turning pages with a device attached to his mouth. He quoted verses from the Bible and told her that, with God, she could do anything that she wanted. After that tour ended, Long Rife returned home to Iowa once more. She often attended the high school state championship game. But schools had begun playing 5-on-5, which she didn't prefer. Long Rife had earned 2 degrees by then, the first in physical education, the second in theology. Bored, and in need of a profession that wasn't on the fringes of the basketball world, she eventually became a pharmacist, graduating from her training in 1995. The pharmacy, she found, could grow tedious when not busy. Then she became aware of a new women's basketball league, the WNBA. Watching games helped her pass the downtime. Long Rife sighs over the phone. Later than most, she says, she liked to visit a Baptist church in Des Moines, where someone asked what she made of Clark. Long Rife had no idea who that was. "You really haven't heard of Caitlin Clark?" No, she hadn't. Who was she? The WNBA's expansion efforts begin in full force this season in a place familiar to Long Rife, San Francisco, with the Golden State Valkyries. The same organization that drafted her now has a counterpart in a professional women's league, one that helped her endure the boredom baked into being a small-town pharmacist. The Warriors, perhaps already thinking about a WNBA partner, invited Long Rife in for an honorary jersey ceremony in 2018. She met KT and Chef Curry and received a long and loud ovation from the crowd. That night, she did not consider whether she could have played in the NBA or whether Clark could now. The WNBA is growing, and no one has driven that more than another sharpshooter from Iowa. Clark and Long Rife played in different eras. Nobody, man or woman, was draining shots from the logo in 1969. Clark does it now as proficiently and regularly as any NBA cager. Long Rife retired around 2016 after working for Osco and Walgreens for 20-some years. She had her right hip replaced, had her left knee replaced, had her left hip replaced, underwent quadruple bypass surgery. Each procedure, at least in some way, marked basketball's imprint on her. These days, she cannot jog. She cannot twist her left leg. but she will, occasionally, still pop by the local rec center where she lives in Rose Hill, outside of Wichita, and hoist a few attempts toward the rim. No freeze, no floaters. Just like in those golden days when she left her imprint, still sizable, on the sport of basketball.